My name is Robert Christopher Wayne Weathers. I live at 3102 Center Hill Road, Akron, Mississippi, 38841. I am under attack by people practicing Scientology. From what I have experienced, there is more space in the universe than humans can see. There are 11 dimensions. We have biology in these extra dimensions. This biology presents itself in layers. So as it grows out of us into the next three dimensions, it creates a biology. And then as it transcends the boundary into the next three dimensions, it creates a layer on top of this biology. And then it creates another layer for the next three dimensions and so on and so forth. And then there's a dark matter or dark particle or some kind of dark energy attached to this biology. It's almost like a mirror universe or something. So Scientologists like to remove this extra dimensional biology while they are still among the living. We utilize this biology for an afterlife. Scientology utilizes it while they are among the living. And from what I have observed, the human genome produces an 11-dimensional organism. The head covering usually has horns. We are designed to fly into outer space or into the particle itself. So in the inverse, all of the matter in the universe is connected. There is no space in between it. And our afterlife biologies are designed to go into the particle, into the singularity. So Scientologists like to remove this extra dimensional biology from themselves while they are still among the living. And they utilize technology and techniques to turn it into an upper dimensional vehicle. They can't remove the whole thing, so they remove a part of it. They have to leave a lot of it behind. So they remove this biology and they like to remove the layers. And they wind up with 3 or 4 biologies in the upper dimensions in which they can turn into an upper dimensional vehicle. So these biologies can't function properly in this state. So they have to utilize organs and tissues from other humans and other species in an attempt to make themselves whole and function properly. So they take organs and tissues from other humans and other species such as reptiles, insects, and worms. So there are a few type of alien forms they create. Then they make lizard people, and they make insectoids or bug people, and they make worm people, or they use worm biology to complete their Scientology process. And extra-dimensional organisms, including Scientologists, they have the ability to manipulate genetic material. So they can manipulate our genes and help us develop certain features and help us grow and develop, and they can help us grow, like they can help us grow nerves and blood vessels and of the sort. So they use this ability to practice Scientology. So they use technology and techniques. First off, there's an entanglement property between our third dimension and our inner dimensions. If you remove interdimensional biology, no matter where you take it in the universe, you are still in this biology. What happens is you can't remove energy from within our particles. You can't take it out of our particles. The particle will be destroyed. So space-time has to conform to ensure this doesn't happen. So what happens is as the removed biology leaves you, space-time in between you and this removed biology shrinks to zero. So they use this entanglement property for part of their technology and technique. Well, first off, they use it for a hive mind uh, technology. There are compounds on Earth that house uh, human biology. They have little pods or little boxes in which they install this removed biology, and then they install it into a storage system, which is linked to a computer system. And from there, they interface this biology to this computer system using electrodes and wires and sensors and things. And this allows them to communicate with each other and interact with each other in a digital landscape. And this also acts as a command center so they can control the rest of their upper dimensional biology. Yes, some companies use a shelving and not the storage system. Yes, I'm very sick. I'm being attacked by them. They are driving parasites through my biology. They are also removing extra dimensional biology. Some of it they're using for transplant purposes. Some of it they're using for surrogate purposes. Some of it they're using for torture devices. So because of this entanglement property, they can take it to a remote location and assault it. And I had to experience it. Yes, they keep me sick and in dysfunction. They are driving parasites through me. You're breaking the law. I'm being harassed constantly. Yes, it's their MO. Uh, so this technology, they also have a wireless technology. So they can install devices and sensors and other like a screen into the origin biology. So whatever you have attached to your third dimension, they can interface devices to your brain and central nervous system. Most of these devices are recording devices. They call them present vision devices. So they record your vision, your hearing, your smell, your taste, your touch. And then this technology also artificially stimulates brain and central nervous system. So they can isolate individual memories and thought patterns and stimulate this area of the brain. So they can make you experience a memory that you've had or thought patterns. And they can also stimulate other areas of the brain and biology, such as the emotional center in your brain. They can make you happy or sad or feel joy or cry. And they can also stimulate uh, your sexual organs, so they can make you have a sexual experience. And this technology also elevates hormones and neurochemistry. So they stimulate their endocrine system and their glands, and this releases hormones such as testosterone, estrogen, growth hormone, and it also elevates neurochemicals. They run energy through their neurons, and this forces their neuron to release neurochemicals. So it elevates dopamine, norepinephrine, serotonin, and the rest of the neurochemicals, and even oxytocin. Yes, and it causes our nerves to have an endorphin-like response. This has an extremely narcotic-like effect upon the user. Then this technology also allows them to drive surrogates. So they can drive other organisms that are not their own biology. They can drive humans, animals, insects, and worms in any dimension. Yes, they can even drive third dimensional. So the Scientology community has become a criminal enterprise. First off, they need biologies to complete their Scientology process. So if you go to one of these Scientology companies and uh, purchase Scientology, purchase access to the upper dimensions, they will go through a medical procedure in which they remove your upper dimensions and modify them into an upper dimensional vehicle, which requires stolen biology from another human or another species. See, these biologies, you can't take the whole thing with this biology. You have to leave organs and tissues behind or you will die. But they want these, you have to have these organs and tissues attached to this upper dimensional biology or you can't function. It won't survive. So they use stolen biology, stolen extra dimensional biology, humans, uh, reptiles, insects, and worms. Scientology process. So first off, it's a body snatching business, biological theft. And then they do things like exploit people. So these people have been using their upper dimensional presence to exploit and control our societies. So anybody with influence, power, or authority in our society uh, has been forced to assimilate. Either they're being forced to assimilate or they're using this technology to try to control their behavior. Uh, they also kidnap people. So if they are attracted to you in any way, uh, if they are attracted to you sexually or they're attracted to your psychology or your behavior, the things that you're doing, they may kidnap you. It also involves a forced assimilation and exploitation. They also traffic humans, both for sexual reasons and for organ donations. Uh, and then they're also invading people's privacy. So the government and marketing companies, such as social media and other marketing companies, they are stealing biology to invade our privacy. So they like to take eye nerves, which allows them to see into our environment, or they like to install devices. Yes, and sometimes they take entire brain pieces or biology. This not only allows them to see into our environment, but it allows them to control our behavior. So they like to observe our environment and see the things we are purchasing, consuming, and our habits and hobbies. And they use this information to try to show us ads and to control our internet algorithms and the commercials we see on television in an attempt to try to get us to purchase more to increase profits. And there are a large group of corporations buying into this marketing scheme using stolen biology or using Scientology to or extra dimensional technology to invade people's privacy. So they like to invade our homes and businesses. And they even use their upper dimensions as lookouts so they can come in their so they can break and enter with their third dimension to modify the environment or take things. Uh, Torture, rape, and murder is rampant among these people, and so is sabotage. So if you are a threat to their organization, uh, they may sabotage your life or hurt you. They may even kill you. And if that's not an option, they like to turn people into surrogates. Yes, they take surrogates at will. And if you are a person that they need to get close to you in any way, they may turn your family members or your friends or your coworkers or neighbors or anybody affiliated with you into a surrogate, or at least force them to assimilate so they can control their behavior, so they can get to you in a personal manner in the third dimension. Uh, they are using biological weapons against people, and uh, this is happening in mass at the moment. So they can drive other organisms. This includes bad organisms, such as parasites, uh, microbial life, and even viruses. So they can drive these organisms through humans. And a lot of these organisms have an extra dimensional biology. So they can even remove the extra dimensions from an organism, or such as a parasitic worm, and use this parasitic worm to assault you in the extra dimensions. They also do this in the third dimension. And they do it for fun. So these people act as if they're above the law, and they are already criminal. So they have been playing with war tech, which is drivable parasites, recently. Uh, they like to contaminate our food and water supply with parasites, or microbes, or viruses, or uh, or even contaminants and chemicals and other things. They like to destroy our environment. So this entanglement property that pertains to our biology also extends to the environment around us. So our homes, our land, our vehicles, our clothing, our food, it all has extra dimensions. So if you remove these extra dimensions and take it to a remote location, because of this entanglement property, you can interact with the origin location from this remote location. So you can literally do things like take a person's shirt, take it to a remote location, and they can reach through this shirt and interact with you. Yes, they do this to me a lot. Uh, and there are a large group of people that are, if you have anything these people want, they will hurt you and take it from you. They commit identity theft, identity fraud. Yes, they do like to torture people. So this body snatching or this conditioning to mess with body parts constantly, removing body parts, which is a very harmful process. It is harmful to the organism. It causes sickness and dysfunction to the origin biology. They are conditioned to do this. Uh, it has created some Dr. Kevorkian type people. On top of this, they act as if they're above the law. Scientology has become a criminal enterprise. And then they are artificially elevating their hormones and neurochemistry. So all this together is leading to some severe psychological issues and behavior within these people. They are psychotic and delusional. They are extremely irritable. They have addictive behavior, so they get addicted to things. They are jealous and petty, greedy, machoistic, sociopathic. They have no empathy. And then on top of this, they can see the future. So humans don't see time as it truly exists. We see time as a linear event. Time is actually a simultaneous event. Well, it's both simultaneous and linear. So while we are among the living, we experience time as linear. We see the days passing one after another after another. We see seconds, minutes, and hours. But when we die and turn around and face the opposite direction into the 11th dimension, or the Scientologists, they get up here on their extra dimensions, they start to see time as a simultaneous event. They go to a different place where time is simultaneous. So they can see the past, the present, and the future happening at the same time as one object. So it is a place uh, beyond the 11th dimension. So while we are among the living, we face this way. We see the void and we see space and all the matter having space in between it. When we die, we turn around. So we face the opposite direction and we start to see, or we can travel through the dimensions towards the 11th dimension. And we start to see time differently. So yeah, at this very moment, I'm being forced to assimilate 13 years ago. And at this very moment, being born. And at this very moment, they have turned my parents into surrogates. And they are driving them in the hospital as my father gives me the name Christopher. That's not supposed to be my name. I'm supposed to be Robert Wayne Weathers. Now I'm Robert Christopher Wayne Weathers. Just so they could come back to this moment or in the future and then sell this whole torture event, this criminal activity towards me as a Christian martyrdom to the Christian society and to the rest of the public. So this all started for me on social media. I was a political activist. I participated in politics a lot. We discussed elected officials, lawmaking and policy, and environmental issues. And we participated in these issues. We participated in elections, lawmaking and policy, and environmental issues. And I'm also an author. So I'm part Native American. My Native American name is Crazy Bird. I wrote Crazy Bird comics. I wrote the Environmental Creation Agency. I wrote Divine Currency or Buffalo Dollars. Uh, I wrote Alien Bob and Bug Bob and several other stories. And I inspired a lot of people. I helped a lot of people come up with their own ideas and write their own literature. So someone forced me to assimilate. I started hearing voices. They started trying to tell me what to do. So they tell me how to do my job, when I could go to the bathroom, when I could take breaks. They were trying to take over my life. Yes, that's what they do. That's what Scientologists do. I had influence. I had a lot of influence participating in politics and writing literature. A lot of people looked up to me and followed me. But I wasn't trying to start any kind of revolution. Just fighting for like stuff like increased wages, affordable housing, health care for all, uh, better working conditions, things of this nature. Yes, and we examined politicians and elected officials and determined their eligibility to be our leaders by their behavior. So assimilation didn't go too well. I told them to get away from me, to leave me alone. And then a whole bunch of people came, and they were hostile and mean. They harassed me constantly and threatened my life and my liberty. Uh, so I started yelling at them, "Get away from me! Stop! Leave!" Well, the communication went away. But then it became apparent that people in the world were invading my privacy. MPB, NPR, social media, Google, Microsoft, several big businesses, uh, the government, politicians, the FBI, the CIA, they were all invading my privacy. And they would communicate with me through their employment, through their work. A lot of these media companies were responsible for most of the communication, like radio DJs and the such. Yes, most of the time it was hostile communication. They threatened my life and my liberty. And then these people started stealing my intellectual property. So the things that I was working on, the things that I was writing and studying, and my philosophy, and even my work, uh, they would use this information to create their own literature and their own content. And as time went on, the communication grew worse and worse, and they stole more and more intellectual property. And I felt severely ill. So I started to feel things stuck inside of my head, inside of my ear, my neck, my face, my head. So I started going to the hospital to get X-rays done to see what the problem was, to try to have it removed, and they didn't see anything. Looking back now, I could tell that my medical professionals were under Scientology's control because they do things like offer me sexual activity right there in the hospital. You can tell. You can tell if someone has a hidden agenda. Uh, so then one day, uh, As time went on, communication grew worse and worse, and I felt more and more sick. And they stole more and more intellectual property. One day, I started to see things, to hear voices. So they gave me ability to actually see these people in my environment. I seen them on their upper dimensional organisms in my environment. Everybody running around, breaking into my home, uh, on my land. They're driving worms. Stop driving my parasites. Get away from me. You're breaking the law. That hurt. Just got assaulted. Oh, that hurts. One of them just said, I paid for your death. You're breaking the law. Yes, they use their upper dimensional biologies to commit crimes. And there's a lot of exploitation and extortion and kidnapping and assault and biological theft. So after I started seeing these people, they gave me Hive gear. They gave me a screen which allowed me to see them, and they also modified my eyes so I could see them in my environment. It became apparent that these people have been selling seats to my mind space. They have been allowing other Scientologists to invade my mind space and read my thoughts or it be. It was for these people's entertainment. Uh, they gained ideas, uh, and they stole intellectual property. And everybody became very attracted to it because I'm a creative and an intellect, a Class A personality. Yes, I like to think. And then they wanted the biology that was responsible for me being able to write literature and create. So they started removing my upper dimensional brain tissue to use as transplants. They literally took brain tissue out of my head and stuck it into their own heads. Yes, these are aliens, but aliens are remote controlled uh, organisms. These are humans on Earth driving upper dimensional organisms. This is Scientology. Yes, they worship the alien form. They're driving my parasite. I'm very. So as time went on, they stole more and more biology to use as transplants and for surrogates. And then they started using it as torture devices. So they'd stick things in me all the time and keep me sick and in pain, objects and worms. And they would do things like cut nerves or do things to my biology that caused me sickness and pain. And it became apparent that I had parasites in all dimensions. I had third dimensional parasites too. Uh, then it turned into a snuff film. So our extra dimensional biologies of dead people and Scientologists, they have special abilities. So we have very powerful eyesight. We have big 11 dimensional eyes. We can see in all dimensions down to the molecular level. Uh, we can fly. If you're whole and healthy, you can fly through outer space. Do molecular transfer. You can move particles around with your mind. We are designed to move energy. We are energy movers. They can see and interact with biologies in a very intimate way. So they can see biologies functioning on the molecular level. They can see our brain and central nervous system lighting up from the energy. They can see particles flowing through us, such as our food and the fluids flowing through us. Yes, and they can even see and interact and modify genetic material. So they are using these abilities to assault me and also do experimentation. So they are watching me function and think. They watch me create and write my literature and come up with ideas. And they watch the areas of the brain in which I'm using. And they like to take this area of my brain tissue or assault it. And they also do this to the rest of my biology. So they have mutilated my sexual organs, uh, my heart and lungs and digestion, my blood vessels, my brain and central nervous system. And then they use their molecular transfer and their life saving technology to patch me up or to hide the damage that they're doing to me. I'm very sick. I lost a lot of organ function, my sexual function, and brain function. I can't think as clearly as I used to. A lot of my higher brain function is gone, and even my ability to sleep. So they are very petty and jealous and irritable. So they see me sleeping in part of my brain, and they've been modifying it for a long time. Over the last 13 years, that has been most of my contact with these people is communication through the world and when I sleep. So they give me nightmares in my dreams, and they like to torture me in my sleep. So now they want to use my brain as a for transplants and as a toy. So they want to set my brain up where other Scientologists can continue to watch me think because they have it's been so lucrative for these people, and these people have become so addicted to it. Yes, because I'm an author, I write literature. I even taught them how to write themselves, and now they're beginning to write themselves, come up with their own thing. But I don't guess they can wait the time and develop their own selves. It takes a long time. I mean, if you want to get good at something, you gotta take the time to practice it and do it. They think it's something, oh, some miracle, something awesome. I'm just a Native American author. I'm part Native American. I'm a descendant of the Lakota people. And in the rest of my biology, they're going to torture. So they plan on doing things like putting torture devices on my biology or filling it full of worms and then putting it down holes or locking it out of entropy. Yes, they are here at this very moment. And they are also in possession of my extra dimensional biology at remote locations. Yes, and they're trying to come up with some false narrative that says I've done something wrong that somehow justifies their criminal behavior towards me. But they've done this to me, my family members, my animals, my friends, my coworkers, my neighbors, even the local police in multiple states and the government, and anybody else affiliated with me in any way has been afflicted by these people. Yeah, it sucks. They're driving parasites at the moment. I'm very sick. I think they're planning on assaulting my spinal column. And the bad thing is, the people at the hospital have been afflicted. They keep hiding the scans from me. So I go there and get scans, and they hide the truth from me. So I went and got all my scans on a disc, and I went and looked at them myself. And the file name is called Monster. So they call me a monster at the hospital. And I've done nothing wrong. I'm always calm, cool, and collective. So the last time I was like, I'm being assaulted. I need antiparasitics. Yes, they're crackheads. Not only is their technology elevating neurochemistry and hormones, they're also abusing substances. And they could get these worms and torture devices out of me, but they don't. They can even kill these worms. The third dimensional worms that can be killed in the same manner you would kill any other third dimensional organism. Remove all of their biology and destroy it. Yes, they are also using this ability to see the future to control, to bet on sports and gamble. So they do this a lot. But most of their money comes from exploitation and extortion and selling access to the upper dimensions to people. They have become a multi-trillion-dollar business. Uh, Last they told me, they have garnered like 15 to 20 trillion dollars because access to the upper dimensions is so powerful. Not only does it allow you the ability to see the future and uh, to make money yourself, but it also allows you the ability to control other people and exploit them and extort them. And now they're trying to control the public to increase consumerism even more. Yes, a lot of people are buying into it. Yes, they're lying about everything. They're going to try to say all kinds of bad things about me, all this and that, because they know there are going to be repercussions, and then they're trying to steal my intellectual property and make it legit. And then they want to come break into my home and take my things. And then on top of that, they want to turn me into a surrogate. They actually want to drive me or get rid of me and replace me with a lookalike. So these people use lookalikes a lot. Yes, and Scientology has people in the government. They have people everywhere. Any institution in which they need to uh, get away with their criminal activity or control human population is under their control. They are beholden to Scientology. Yes, they are the aliens. Aliens are just humans that are still alive. Uh, they are remote controlled by humans. They keep sticking stuff inside of me over and over again, but they damage me constantly. So I have to go through things like mortal wounds or severe wounds, and then they'll turn around and try to repair the damage because I'm laying on the floor, and they feel how bad it hurts. So this hive mind technology that I mentioned, it gives them the ability to feel what we feel. So they can feel our feelings, they can feel our neurochemistry, they can see what we see, hear what we hear, they can read our thoughts, they can even taste our food, and they can even feel it go down. I'm very I do not consent for you to mess with my biology in any way or have possession of any of it, or my family members, and that includes my animals. I have to sit here and watch these people steal biology from me and my animals and my family, and then torture it. So my little sissy is pitiful. She's filled with worms and torture devices, and she's constantly shaking and scratching. These are all rich people and people with authority or influence or power. So the biggest players are politicians, big business owners, and then there's the media companies and marketing companies become big players within the last decade or decade and a half. Internet, specifically social media, has caused an event to happen within Scientology. People are stealing biology in mass because I guess the government gave these people the go ahead to invade our privacy. There's something about something social on social media that we did or on the internet that allowed these companies to invade our privacy, but they are not telling the public that this involves the removal of extra dimensional biology. is and another thing to mention. Uh, while we are among the living and we have all of our biology attached, it moves with us. We take it everywhere we go. It does the same motions we do. As we move, so does our extra dimensional biology. And we utilize every piece of this biology while we are among the living. It allows us to function properly and to consume energy properly. Scientologists have realized that if you remove this biology, you lose your anchor to space time. So, third dimensional humans, we can't fall through holes, we can't fall through space time. We are anchored to space time. You can't get us out of it. We are stuck here. There's nothing you can do about it. There is no force in the universe that can push us out of space time. So Scientologists have realized that if you remove this extra dimensional biology, you lose your anchor to space time. You are no longer stuck in space time. You go to a place where you can fall through space time. So everybody's falling through holes and suffering. They are falling out of space time. Plus, they are losing their ability to process energy properly. So they are using this mechanism of the universe as a torture device for some people. They are playing into this whole Christianity thing of sending people to hell, which all they do is they fill them full of torture devices or put them in pain in some way, then put them through space time or push them out of space time. It's very easy to do up there. Some people just they fall automatically. Something happens or they go somewhere they shouldn't and they fall because they lose their anchor to space time. Now, the normal human afterlife experience, you take as much of this biology with you when you go as you can. You take the whole thing with you. You leave nothing but the shell. So you can consider our third dimension as a shell. Uh, Everything that we are lies underneath or within us. Yes, there's a whole lot of brain and organ damage in the world today. In fact, they're saying a lot of our population, if not most of our population, has been afflicted by Scientology. They're saying anybody with internet or a Facebook account or even a TV or a cell phone service or internet service, people sign contracts with these companies all the time that allow them access into our environment or to gain access to our information. And they are using these contracts as an excuse to steal extra dimensional biology. It just adds an extra layer onto Scientology's criminal practices, which always involves some kind of biological theft or biological modification. I'm very sick. I'm dizzy and I'm weak, functioning as well as I used to. Yes, even the government and the police are using this technology. And one of them just admitted it actually increases criminal behavior amongst people. Yes, this technology and body modification and biological theft, it causes sickness and dysfunction, especially if your biology winds up in a bad place. Then you have to deal with the pain. And some of these compounds that house this stolen biology have actually have malfunctioned, fried a lot of biologies, blew up a bunch of technology, computer system shorted out or something. You have to realize we are Anunnakis. We are designed to move energy. We are energy moving creatures. We do molecular transfer for one. We move particles around with our mind. You don't see this much on Earth, except from our biological function. It's mostly an interdimensional ability. But and then there's is our energy consumption. So we put energy into this biology, and it flows through our dimensions. Uh, Energy flows through our biology, and this happens no matter where it's at in the universe. So this entanglement property, if you remove a piece of biology and take it away from yourself, space-time in between you and this removed biology warps and conforms. It starts to shrink to zero as this body part leaves you. So as energy or fluids or particles flow through you, as it gets to this removed biology, it shoots up these bands of space-time into your removed biology, and then it goes through this body piece and comes back down and goes continues to circulate through your system. So these compounds or this biological uh, thievery, they have to deal with all of these energy particles that are now flowing through our atmosphere, going straight from us to these compounds or to whatever extra dimensional organism houses them, has your biology. They call it entropy, but it's not. It is a warp in space time that is allowing our particles that we consume to flow through uh, outer space or the upper dimension, flow through space time. So I'm very sick. They're premeditating the deaths of me and my family, especially me and my animals. They're playing God on us. So some of these Scientologists, if you remove your extra dimensional biology, you lose your anchor to space time. And if they take it away from the third dimension, they expand at a greater rate than we do on Earth. Yes, and they do modifications or some procedure that helps them grow, and they become big compared to us. So now they are playing God on us. They're treat us like little Barbie dolls. Well, this started in the 60s, the 50s and 60s. People started getting up here while they were among the living. However, these extra dimensional organisms transcend time. So they have been interacting with life on this planet since who knows when. Probably back since ancient humans started to see the upper dimensions. They started to see Anunnakis and the gods, and religion started being created uh, of these upper dimensional organisms. People started hearing voices and seeing things. And then ever since Scientology has been around, we have had accounts of alien encounters. Most of the time, while people are asleep, they have these visits from alien creatures, uh, and they even have out of body experiences, which is Scientology's tech. And they also they report experiences of waking up far away from their home in a different location, not remembering how they got there or what happened. And this could be attributed to surrogate making. So they can turn you into a surrogate and take you somewhere, and then put you or wake you up, and then there you are. As aliens are remote controlled organisms. A human somewhere on Earth has removed part of their extra dimensional biology and turned it into an upper dimensional vehicle, and that is the alien. You're breaking the law. Yes, and a lot of people in this society are being controlled without their knowledge, especially people. especially public, of the civilians. I'm incorrect. I'm very sick. Please get away from me. You're breaking the law.